And Ghost Cult Magazine welcomes Yvette Young. How are you doing, Covet?
I'm doing great. I mean, despite the circumstances of the
Of
world, I'm
course.
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, Ghost Cult.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks for being here. First and foremost, I hope that you're well and everyone in your, circle, the band, your families, friends, everybody's okay, because this is an insane time in the world. And even though it looks like we may start opening up things soon and getting back to some semblance of normal, it's just, I just feel like it's important to put it out there, and I hope you're okay and everybody's okay.
Thank you. Likewise with you. Hopefully things will look better soon.
I hope so. And it's just been a very strange and stressful time in the world. So music is the thing that I feel like helps us get through, and he heals us. And you have this brand new record coming out at a strange time in the world to put a new record out. But congrats. It's awesome. I've been listening to it a lot to get ready for this interview. I like the first record, Florence. It was really good. And so this is a continuation, more, definitely a gradual growth for the group. It's like it's the same style but advanced. I like it.
Yeah, we just keep on trying to, challenge ourselves. And my whole thing as an artist is I never want to just do the same thing over and over again. So I always want to find some way to push myself to do something new and uncomfortable. It's this album is a lot more wet, as in there's barely any clean tone guitar. It's just like mostly modulation, a lot of chorus, a lot of you know, there's some gain on it now. There's lots of delay. We basically took little bits of what we liked sonically, texture wise, of the last record, and we just like exaggerated it.
Nice. Yeah, I definitely picked up on that. And I love that you mentioned right out of the gate to get out of your comfort zone, because I'm a big fan of that idea that sort of change and growth begins when you push yourself out of your comfort zone, like singing on a song.
Oh yeah, that
You have an amazing voice, and I love that the band is an instrumental band, but it is a big change. Of course, we're talking about Parachute, the single, and the great video. But yeah, what a fantastic song, and you have an amazing voice. I'm sure people have probably wanted you to sing for a long time.
yeah, people were confused why I did it. Like, I guess my whole policy for music is if if it serves the music, then you got to do it. Like it's like no rules, no rules about like what you can or can't do for a song. Like if you write a song and you hear it needs vocals, then you put vocals on it. Like I can't be held back by like my biases or my fears or anything. So I'm glad I did it. It's like now I just have to figure out how I'm gonna sing it consistently live every night. But I guess I have a long time to figure that out, don't I?
Theoretically, yes. I know you
Yeah,
have some live streaming stuff coming up, and people may want to hear it since it's such a
yeah.
cool new song. But yeah, of course. Were there challenges for you in terms of writing lyrics, or, certainly no shortage of subject matter for any instrumental song. But when it comes to lyrics, sometimes it can be very personal or not very personal if you choose. So was there any process that went into that?
Well, I was going through something really rough during the time, and I wanted the lyrics. Like, I had written those two songs with vocals, Parachute and Farewell, when I was really sad. So I was kind of trying to write the music that I wish I felt, which is something that was like upbeat and hopeful. Uh, and I find that music has this amazing transformative effect. Like whenever I plug into my guitar and I'm not feeling great, but I play something kind of joyful and like upbeat, I end up kind of just getting cheered up from it and I feel better at the end. So that was exactly the process in writing these two songs. And then I thought the vocals, like the first one, Parachute, it's about taking a risk um, and jumping into the known, but knowing you'll be okay. Cause, like I guess you have a parachute. um, and farewell is just a letter I wrote to myself about like getting through something difficult and just taking it day by day. Um, and how like, you're not alone. It's like kind of cheesy, but yeah, I wrote that as a letter to myself. But in the process of doing that, I really hope that it touches other people and makes them feel better too.
It certainly made me feel better. I love the song, and it's not cheesy. I think it's weird. We live in a strange time in a society where self care and, sort of being consciously aware of our feelings. And when we're not okay, it's like weird to still say, I'm not okay. And I don't know why that is, but I think it's cool. I'm glad you did it. And thank you for sharing.
Yeah,
And yeah,
absolutely.
and then the video is amazing. Wow. It's almost like it's probably in my, even though you've done very funny videos and you've done very quirky, let's say quirky videos that match the music. I really love the vibe of the parachute video. It's like very
Oh,
even, like equally matched to the essence of the band,
thank you. Yeah, that one is so fun. Like I drew all the backgrounds and like made all the little things. So animating that was really fun. My video guy Tom, we're notorious for coming to him with stuff that he hasn't done before, and he's like, I don't know, I'm gonna pull this off, but I'm gonna say yes. And Tom is a wizard because he says yes to things that he doesn't know how to do, and he just does them. Great. um,
Tom is great. Yeah, he's
yeah.
fantastic as a director.
Have you seen the farewell one? It's not out yet, but I don't know if they sent you
No,
a link. That
not
one's
yet.
hilarious because I think it'll be out by the time this podcast is out. But basically, it's the exact opposite to what the message of the song is. And I wanted to create. I come up with a video treatment, so it's like I wanted to come up with a thing that it's like cognitive dissonance to what you're hearing. So it's a prom and there's a bunch of zombies and they're just like killing off the kids at the prom, and it's like everything is chaos and everyone's like mass panicking, but the song's like it's gonna be okay, like you just gotta hang in there. Everything will be all right.
That's amazing. It's interesting. You don't see a lot of bands that really put a lot of thought into their visual style. And obviously, you care about the music. Why wouldn't you care about the rest of your presentation, from album artwork, photography, and the video? So it's great to hear how hands-on the band is and you are with this.
Oh, it's my favorite part. If anything, writing music is equal. Like my passion for writing music is equal to my passion for coming up with a visual component.
I suspected as much, but I'm glad you said it. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. It's just so fun. So fun, like imagining something and actually doing it, like seeing it come into fruition. It's so rewarding. Feels like magic.
Amazing. I love it. Another thing that's really interesting is, like I said, there's definitely a growth from the first record to now, and I love the entire band. Like the musical performances are fantastic. Nothing is ever too doesn't feel forced. Everything sounds like very natural with like a real ebb and flow. Like not just the sequencing of the albums, but just in general from part to part in each song. So I wanted to kind of go dial it back for a second and talk about like composing and how you guys all write together and agree on arrangements.
Oh, well, thank you, first of all. And I guess to answer your question, I usually come up with the song first. So, like, I'll come up with a big old skeleton, and it'll be like the song all structured out, maybe 90 to 100% complete. Then I'll bring it to my drummer and we map out the rhythms and how we want to accent things. Um, I'll like give him like I'm the worst with drummers. Like my drummer is an angel for dealing with me because I am totally that guitarist that's like, you want to go like boom boom boom, like like just like really make this part like really dancey, like whatever that means. Like he's just an angel for being able to translate my noises and my really vague terms, like, and we kind of like solidified that, and then my drummer and my bass player get together and they kind of lock in the rhythm section, and then we all join forces and give a little test run, and then anything that needs to be tweaked, sometimes we'll collaborate on an ending together if I can't decide what I want to do. So yeah, I want everyone to write their own part and in general, and feel like they have they're actually like personally invested in the song because they came up with a portion of it.
Nice. And shout out to all the patient drummers in the world.
Yes, yes.
I sense it's a lot of drummers who have to like interpret somebody's like beatbox on the spot. This is what I had in mind. Can you do something like this? And I was
Yeah.
guilty of that when I played in bands really bad. So I respect that. And I love that you just like put it on Main Street.
Yeah, like it's so funny. There's this video that went viral of me just counting for him. I was like, no, it's like da na 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 da na na. Like it was like just like showing my fingers and like humming something, and yeah, it's hilarious.
Amazing. You have a really great and distinctive guitar style that I think is, very special to you. And I wanted to ask you sort of how you developed it, or was there some influential players in your past that sort of inspired this kind of combination style of playing?
I grew up listening to a lot of like folk music, first of all. Like I was big on Sufjan and Cat Stevens, all the Stevens. Um, and then I started listening to like Midwest emo and math rock. And then I feel like that's when I found something that really touched me. Like I love the sound of like what I loved about folk was a lot of it related to Americana. And a lot of the emo stuff has kind of the same themes and modes as like the folk music. So I think that was just a natural progression for me. And then I found bands like TTNG, American Football, Toe, Enemies. And then I just became obsessed with, I loved like math rock. A lot of people, that genre sometimes carries like a negative connotation because people assume it's like really heady technical music, but I don't think it has to be, because a lot of the music I listened to growing up was like really beautiful, like um flowy math rock that was very melodic, but it was just like not in four and you didn't even really notice. So I feel like with a lot of Covet stuff, I actually never think about the time signature. Like I don't count shit. I write it, I sing it with my voice, and then whatever happens. And then I bring it to my drummer. I'm like, I wrote this song. I think it's in four. And then he's like, no, actually, it's in like seven and like 13, but that's okay. Like, my bad. I didn't realize because I was singing it this whole time and it felt so natural. So that's my goal. It's like to get people to trick people into listening to something that's like in five or something compound meter.
Right. Hashtag I don't count shit. I think that's going to be the tagline for this interview.
Dude, I don't count shit.
Amazing.
It's true.
Amazing. And again, things no drummer wants to hear, but a very nice drummer will entertain you.
Oh
And
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. He gets to do the
fantastic.
counting. He literally has a scroll and a quill, and he's like, "Yes, and the next section, okay."
Hold on, let me calculate this with my abacus. And
Yeah.
yeah, awesome. But again, I love your guitar stuff, especially. And what I find that's really cool is the way you build textures. And when you strum the strings, whether it's effects, you talked about the record being very wet. And I hear like a lot of weird harp type of vibe from the guitar sometimes. Like, I don't know if it was intentional, but it's like very, like it's very chill. So it's definitely, contrasting with the rhythms. So I love the guitar stuff there.
Oh, thank you. I think that style I totally get from just playing piano and violin most of my life.
Fantastic. Do you still ever sort of, fiddle with those things, or is just guitar for you now?
I like your pun. I do fiddle with violin.
I saw
Haha.
that, what I did there. Thank you. Sorry. Too much coffee today.
It's okay. I actually played violin on the record. Odessa, there's a violin solo
Okay,
there.
cool.
I've been doing violin sessions for people, which is cool. I love violin. We did an acoustic version of Parachute where I did acoustic guitar and violin on it too. So I'm like constantly playing violin. And then piano, I released a piano record last year, but I'm trying to do another one maybe this year or next year. But I would say I don't have time. I do have time. I thought I'd have more time this quarantine to like write, but I've been just preoccupied with like I learned how to record, so I've been kind of messing about with that. And yeah, just I don't know how I have so much shit I have to do. I can't write still. I don't know. Life's entropic, like crazy. You just can't control what gets thrown your way.
Yeah, don't control the chaos, but go with it.
Yeah,
Um,
life's
I
like
keep
a
to do
wave, man.
it is a ride. It is a
It
ride.
is.
And you just ride it. You can't steer it. You have to just go. Somebody told me that once. I was like, it's a very deep sounding, but also doesn't sound like me at all. It sounds like I'm a control freak and I want to like hold the strings and
Yeah.
I can't. I can't.
You can only control what's in front of you, like immediately, but you don't know what's gonna happen. There's no way to prepare for anything. So it's hard. It's hard to let
Jake,
go.
yeah, it is hard to let go, but it's cool that you can, because being in a creative endeavor with other people means you have to let go and let them have their share too, because otherwise it's just you. It's just a you thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And I find that working with other people has been the best thing I could do to help myself grow and expand my palette, because if I just constantly write with myself, I'm just doing the same comfortable thing all the time. But if I do a collaboration with someone who has a slightly different style than me, or even drastically different style than me, I'm really forced to like try to complement what they're doing, but in my voice, but do something where I never had to think that way before.
I got you. Speaking of collaborations, another thing that I really like that the band does is you did a really cool thing with your last video where you sort of invited the fans to do their own playthrough versions, which
Oh
I thought, of
yeah.
course, the video itself was hysterical, but you know, shooting lightning out of the guitar and fun things. But I love that you sort of enlisted the fans to get like, here's an experience you can share and get something out of it that maybe I think a lot of people weren't expecting. Obviously, you know that people who follow the band are musicians perhaps, and you know, love the musicianship of the group. So I think it's really cool that you kind of empowered them, because I don't see a lot of bands try that at all.
Aw, my whole thing is accessibility. Like I wanna encourage. I don't want to be this like rock star figure that like nobody knows anything about, and like it's like untouchable or whatever. Like I'd rather make it so that it's like you can do this too. Here's like tabs. It's not that hard. Like you, I don't know, like you, it's tricky, yeah, but it's like if you just put in the time and practice, like you could do this too. And I think like, I don't know, a lot of people don't start learning guitar because they're scared. They think they'll never be able to get to from point A to point B. Point B seems so far away, but if you just break it down into like little milestones and little steps, I feel like it makes it more digestible and more attainable for people. So I'm always so stoked to see more people playing guitar and more people challenging themselves, because I feel like that's how a scene dies if no one new joins. So I just want our scene to flourish. I want the instrument guitar to flourish. I want it to be popular. And that's how we ensure that everyone has a future in it.
Nice. I love that. And it is interesting. It seems like there's, you know, every time you think you've heard everything, and there are definitely some genres that I like that are not trying to recreate a wheel or do anything differently or new. And then I
Yeah.
hear something like this Covet record, and I'm like, oh, this is really cool. This is get me thinking about music in a completely different way, and I really love that.
Aw, thank you. Thanks for giving something new a chance. That's the
Yeah, for sure.
challenge. I think a lot of people I don't know, set in their tastes and their ways, and it's hard to get them to listen to anything outside of a genre that they're already into.
That's fair. That's fair. I do see a lot of chatter on social media and in Reddit. I went down like a Reddit rabbit hole where people were looking for like Covet tabs. So
No
it's funny that you,
way.
yeah, people. So maybe that's a thing you guys can do someday, is put out like a tab book or an app or something. Because I think people would love to learn the songs, not just guitar, even other things, you know,
Yeah.
bass and drums too.
I think we're working on it. It's just when we're touring and we're in the studio, we just never have time. Like I think I was home a whopping 2 weeks the whole year. So I was always traveling for different things, but now that I have time at home, maybe tabbing is the answer.
Maybe. And there's probably some software that you can probably like sync up the recordings to. But I wanted to ask, since you mentioned you were working on learning recording, and you know, maybe you will get to another piano record. Anything else you're doing during this quarantine? It's not downtime for sure, but is there anything else you're doing to keep yourself busy or just, you know, stimulated and sharp, as
I've
opposed to
Oh,
the opposite?
yeah. I've of course been collaborating with people on Instagram and stuff that I've never had the time to work with that I really admire. I did one with Ichika. I did one with Bo Diakwitz, who's this other guitarist that's like incredible. He does like neo soul, kind of like lo-fi beat stuff, but I love his work. I've been kind of like in starting some projects with people. It's not concrete yet, but it's like totally different genre, like indie music, kind of like new wave shit. Like it's like the music I love. And I've been trying to teach myself how to cook. Like, I mean, I already knew how to cook, but I wasn't experimenting with what I was cooking. I was like, here's a pasta, here's a stir fry, you know. But I made a couple of quiches this week that I was quite pleased with. Trying to get to lasagna. I want to make a really good. Oh, I'm vegetarian, so like I'm trying to like take a lot of things that I love that are super meaty and find a way to make like a meat substitute version of it. Maybe one day I'll open up a vegan restaurant venue.
I like it. I like it. Or a food truck maybe with a little performance space next to it.
That would be cool. I'd love
I
that.
can see it. I can see
Um,
it. The Covet food truck by Yvette.
when
Um,
I'm old and I no longer want to tour and perform.
I got you. Well, I hope we get touring and performing back. I know it's really scary out there right now. Nobody knows what's going to happen, but I like your I like your PMA. You have good positivity. I like it.
I mean, there's always something I can do. That's ever since I feel like ever since I was born, I had like things like tasks assigned to me. Like, so I'm used to just like filling up my time with things, never bored, always stimulated slash slightly stressed. It's all good though.
Right? Were you an overscheduled child?
Yes, absolutely. Every single day I'd have like two lessons, and at the end of the week I'd have like a performance or like a competition I had to enter. So I definitely was kept really engaged and like structured when I was a kid. So I think that's something that I've definitely taken into my adult life. I love that structure. I have a whiteboard next to me with a bunch of note cards. Every day I go to the whiteboard and I choose two that I need to do, and I try to focus my day on that. So
Great advice. Wow. Yeah, I'm a big to-do list person, but then I end up like
yes.
crumpling it up and throwing it across the room by the end of the day. But I like the whiteboard, a vision board, like in a sense. I love
Yeah.
it.
It's
I
like
love
it
it.
feels so satisfying to take off. Like I'll have a bunch of note cards on it, and every time I remove one or two, I'm like, yes, I can see more of the board. Like, and so the goal is to get to a point where you just see no note cards, just the board, but that never happens.
That's fair. That's fair. Just as we start to wind this down, I do find it very interesting that you've been playing music since you're very little. And a lot of times when you have a child that's a prodigy, or just you're doing this now, right? You play this music or do this thing. And usually I see by the teenagehood or young adulthood, it's like, I don't want this anymore. So what was the thing in your youth that kept you wanting to make music that has, led you to today? Because some people get burned out, right? Little kids can get burned out even.
That's a great question, and I have a very long story, but I'll try to condense it. Um, so I used to hate music because I associated it with stress. Like I was forced to compete, and honestly, if I didn't win, sometimes I'd get like punished, So it's like I just associated it music with pain, with like stress, with expectation. None of it was for me. I always like one. I felt like I was like a reluctant dog. Like someone would throw a bone and I just bring it back. I'm like, here's your stupid bone. And I do that with like piano competitions. Like if I won, here's your medal. Like I don't care. This is dumb. Music shouldn't be a competition. So like I got really burnt out on it. And long story short, all the pressure of having to like be perfect all the time made me really sick. And I went into the hospital with I was diagnosed with anorexia. um
Hmm.
I during it was kind of dire actually. Like my heart stopped working and I had to be hooked on like a heart machine to help me keep a pulse, and I was there for on and off for like maybe 3 or 4 years, maybe at a month at a time. And during those periods of time, like started turning to guitar to like um kind of just have an outlet. I would write like really, the lyrics are mortifyingly embarrassing now, but I would write really emo songs and like teach myself chords, and I would learn other people's songs. I'd write poetry, and all of that really helped me lift myself out of the mindset of being depressed. And actually depression isn't a mindset. I want to clarify, it's a chemical imbalance. But I feel like I didn't have an outlet for it, and music became a voice for me. I felt like I had a voice. I felt like my focus shifted from my external appearance and my weight and how empty I wanted to feel to what I could do with my hands and what I could create. And that really improved my self-image, and having that as my self-esteem like changed everything. I was like, I'm just gonna do this now. This is my identity. And and even when I was discharged, I continued writing music, and I still say to this day, like music's multiple times, not even in that hospital visit or those hospital visits, music has saved my life, has brought me out of some of the darkest times, and it's a sacred outlet for me. And I think teaching myself guitar restored my relationship with music in general, because it's like for the first time I got to do something for myself. Nobody was telling me what to do with it. Nobody was telling me how I should play it. And I think that's also why I'm so stubbornly in my own like category with like guitar. Like it's just because it's like I always want to keep it something I do for myself. I'm not trying to be anyone else. I'm just trying to like write music and have an outlet for my emotions. um, I think that's something I want to maintain to the end of my career, because the moment I start making music for other people, it's gonna just kill it for me. It's gonna kill the magic. It's gonna kill like the the excitement I feel for creation. So hopefully I can find a way to compromise if so that I never have to lose that.
That was very heavy, and I appreciate you sharing that story.
Yeah, sorry
And
I
because
like talked so much.
no, that's great. Thank you for no. Again, I think that's an important story to share because I also had like it's relatable to me for sure, and I'm sure a lot of
Yeah.
other people. So that was great. Thank you for sharing. And a note to self: I'll save the hard questions for earlier in the conversation. But no,
Yeah, no
that was
worries.
great. That was really great. You're wonderful. Again, the new record is Technicolor by Covet, and it's coming out on Triple Crown Records June 5th. And we're super excited for you. And keep your head up during this quarantine. Stay busy. Let us know how you're doing with the cooking. Maybe you can take some pictures for Instagram. We'll stalk your Insta.
Yeah, everyone's been asking for a quiche recipe, so maybe I'll do like a cooking with Yvette kind of deal.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, actually, yeah, that's fun. Whenever I have time to do that.
Right. Put it on the board.
Yeah, put it on the board.
That's it. Thank you, Yvette. You're the best. We appreciate you.
Absolutely. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Have a great day.
You too. Take care.